Ready? I can talk.
Yep, go ahead.
Alrighty. This is Bobbi from Quilter's Candy Shop. And this afternoon, we're coming to you with another how-to video. Again, we've shipped out your packages. A lot of you have bought the half yards of fabric, the patterns, and now it's time to sew these little guys up. So this video is just kind of a how-to, I do it. I kind of do it in a simple way, and so I just thought I'd pass that on. This is a little frog. He's going to sit here and supervise today. First of all, we did the scarves yesterday. I hope that helped with some comfort factor. Again, when you get the scarf, you just open it up. It's ready to go. All you have to do is lay it out longwise, sew it, and you're good to go. So the directions are in it. And that's unlike this, where you're going to get a half a yard of fabric and you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do with it. You can do the pillow, which is really easy. There's a pillow pattern in each one, and it makes a really nice 16-inch pillow, envelope pillow, where you can just slide in the, so you can do it that way, which was a pretty nice little gift to send with somebody to college, a soft little pillow. Or I don't know, we have a lot of kids that are stressing out with school and remote school right now. So a soft little pillow with a 16-inch pillow form is kind of a cheap little gift. I ordered pillow forms last night off of Walmart because honestly, there's just no cheaper place to get them than Walmart. And I think they were $4.84. Pretty cheap. So you're looking at like $9.95, $4.84. You got a $15 nice little gift ready to go when you go out the door. So today I'm going to show you how I put my patterns together, because I blow my patterns up. I might blow them up more than once, and I'll show you that with this frog pattern, because I blew this up, I laminated it. Yeah, let's switch it. I blew it up and I laminated it. And this is what I came up with. And I'll show you how I blow it up and laminate it. And I looked at this. This was at 125. This was at 125. And I wasn't real happy with the size of this. I thought, boy, that is not very big. And that was, but if you look at the front of your pattern, it will tell you the size that the pattern will make. Well, I should have probably looked, because it said that this little guy would be, I think it was 11 inches on him. Yeah, 11 inches. So then I went back and I blew it up to 140%. And that's the one we're going to do today. This is 140%. And that's what this one is. So it's just a trial and error till you get the size that you really like. I would have maybe made him a little bigger, but you have to place this on the fold. And I couldn't place it on the fold either direction on a half a yard. I couldn't place it on a half a yard of fabric on the fold if I made this any bigger. And he really did come out to a cute size. I mean, I always think of these animals as a little tyke carrying them around. The first nutty nag I made for my son's goddaughter, and she drags it everywhere. So you want to make it so that she can drag it everywhere, so it's not too overly big. But like I said, if you don't like the size you got your first pattern, I also have, I can't remember what I blew up. I blew up one to 140%, and it absolutely would not fit on my fabric. So then you have to go back, and then I blew it back, or I blew it up again at 130%. So when I print out my patterns, this is kind of what you end up with, because I've blown it up. And I just go through and I just whack them out. And the biggest thing is I'm just getting the excess paper off, because I don't want to laminate paper. I want to laminate my pattern. And these are the two that go with that. And make sure you're using your paper scissors for this, because once you're going to start cutting through your lamination, it's pretty hefty stuff. And again, don't let this stress you out. I just take these. Let's see, is this the way? Nope. So this goes with this. And I just line them up. And then I just tape them. I put a couple pieces of tape on them because I'm going to laminate these. So it doesn't take much tape. And again, I'll line this one up. I just lined it up to where it looks like it's lined up, ready to go. And then I put a couple of pieces of tape on it. And these pieces are ready to go. This would have been the gusset. The gusset's, of course, 2 pages long. So again, I just whack it out. And if there's anything I can tell you about Minky, it's that it's really fun to sew with. 20 years ago, I did some Minky stuff, and it wasn't as forgiving. It wasn't as soft. But nowadays, it really is. But again, you just, you can kind of see the line underneath the paper. I see the line up above. It's going to be fine. Okay, so I'm going to show you on a couple of pieces of this Bill the Bald Eagle. You'll see that it says join here before cutting the fabric. So we're going to find the other piece that we're going to join, and we're going to go ahead and join those before we lay them out. On this one where it's so long, I may go through and whack off down to the line. It'll just make it line up a little better. And it's so big. But we're just going to line this up, and we're going to do this ahead of time. We're going to do this ahead of laminating, because then we can laminate this big one. I buy my lamination from Amazon, and I'll show you how I laminate. This is what I buy. It's called Just Peel and Stick. It's 100 count. I think it's like $15 for 100 sheets. It works really good. I like to laminate my patterns because I plan to use them over and over and over. And I will, oops, I didn't really want it to go there, but that's okay. That's a good thing to show you. So where I have all this at the top, I'll come across here and I'll cut it off. Seeing up here, I'm going to have some little points. So let me set this aside, and I'm going to put another sheet on. You can overlap it just a little bit. It's not gonna matter in the scheme of things. But I don't waste this lamination. Shoot, it never does this. I don't waste this lamination paper. But see, I have this little point up here. So I'll go over and grab this piece that I cut off, that I've set aside, and I'll just add it on here. I'll just add it. Whoops, let me get up here on the camera. I'll just add it onto the top to cover that point. And I'm going to save this because this is another good hunk that I may be able to use somewhere. Maybe it's, but I just set them aside, and then I'll laminate the back. The only thing is you end up with a lot of that back. But there again, I'll lay it on. And I know I don't need this whole sheet on here. So what I might do is just cut it in half. Actually, I might have enough with this. Like I said, I'd be really frugal with this stuff. And then I have this little sheet to go up here. So I'll get them all laminated. And then again, this is another good TV thing, because then I'll go back and that's when I cut them out. You know, and I also, while I'm doing that, I'll write on the back of them. So I'll take my Sharpie and I'll write on the back, because I see that that's an E there. Now this one is cut 1, or no, cut 2, 1 reversed. So it's nice to have those letters on the back so you aren't guessing what it's going to be. And then L goes down here. So, and then I write body on the back so that I know. But it's just nice to have it on the back as you're cutting that opposite side out. But that's how I do my pattern pieces. And again, then I'll lay it out on my Minky. Sometimes I'll even, I can tell you, I've even drawn it out on the Minky and on the back, and it's been too much or it's been too large, and I've had to go back and redraw it. That's why they make different colors of Sharpies. I wish I could show you a piece of that back, but the first time I did it in black, the second time I did it in red, and the third time I did it in purple. And I finally got it a size that I liked. So it doesn't matter how much markings on the back of your Minky. No one's ever going to see that. So do it until you're happy with it. Except for white. Yeah, and I'll talk to you about white when we get to this, when we get to white. But those are what I use when I'm...
Hold that onto the camera so they can see the whole thing.
This?
Further. Yeah.
Up further. This is called, it's just called Peel and Stick. I checked Office Depot. I checked Walmart. We live in O'Neill, Nebraska. So we have no options here. All we have is a farm store here, who doesn't cater to anybody. We do have an office supply place. Oh, maybe. Do we still have? I don't know. But it doesn't, it's pretty much a place to get ink. We just don't have much in O'Neill, so we rely on Amazon, Walmart, but I would just go through and I would just laminate these, and I'll put 2 together. You know, I'll put 2 together on a sheet, and maybe a little bit will hang over. And again, you just add a little piece of lamination to it. So, or you can put, you know, if you might end up with 3 things together, like these 3 things. It doesn't matter now what.
You're not totally on the camera. You're about half off.
It doesn't matter what you laminate together. Like the wing is going to be one color, the beak's going to be one color, but that doesn't matter with your lamination. And I do laminate both sides. Some people only laminate one side, but I really like them laminated on both sides.
And why do you laminate?
I laminate because it makes it stronger and it's easier to draw around. Let me show you one of my, if I were to today decide that I wanted to make Honey the Bear, then I would pull out, and I also make a copy of my pattern when I get it, because as a matter of fact, I have 2 copies in here, but I like to write on them. And then like this Honey the Bear here is 150%. I will write that on there because this Honey the Bear is 120. If I don't write on it, I know it's 120%. But I like to laminate them because it's so much easier drawing around them. If they get thrown up on a shelf, they're going to stay good. That's why I laminate them. It just makes them stronger and last longer. Oh, more pins. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how, when you get your fabric, you're going to open it up. And right now it's not going to be hairy because we have vacuumed both sides of it and we've taken care of that. Now this white I just cut because I forgot to bring a piece of white with me today. So it has a few hairs on it. So you'll have to ignore that. The eye, we're going to do Prince Charming today, and the eye of Prince Charming is going to be white. as you can see. All it does is you put the bead or and I only use safety eyes. That's all we're ever going to send you is safety eyes, because no little kid, they can't even chew those off. So to me, it's worth the difference. I always use gray on my white, but it really doesn't matter on the outside because you're going to trim all that off. And again, you can go clear to the edge. Like I said, this minky is minky all the way to the edge, except I noticed on the digital. On the digital. Now, most of the time I would write on here, and I'll show you because I'll just waste one of these. Most of the time I write on here what this is. So I'll write I. The bad thing about white is you can kind of see that through there. And that would bother me because I would see it through there. So I know that I know that I don't want to do that. So I'll go back and I'll cut another one. I use the second size up scissors for these, and the reason of these perfect scissors, and the reason I like them is they have this serrated blade, so they cut really, really nice on this minky. And again, just don't, everything should be non-stress with minky. It should be an enjoyable thing. And this will be a good thing to show you because it's so small, and I want to show you how we vacuum them. Oh, it's kind of like going back to kindergarten.
Cut on the line.
Yeah, cut on the lines. But the good thing about it is if it's not completely on the line, oh well, who's going to know? This is Minky C3. It doesn't have near as much dander, I guess you would call it, as the regular. This is my little hefty machine. I use this a lot. As you can see, it's got hairs up in it. But I use it a lot to clean my fabrics. And all I do is, once I turn this on, you probably won't hear me, but I'll just suck this fabric right in there. And I clean off my work area. And I cleaned my pieces that I'm done with, because now I can put this away. It's clean and ready to pull out another day for another eyeball or something. But see, I still have a little dander. But then I set these eyes aside. And like I said, most of the time I would write on the back what this is. But on these eyeballs, I'm not going to because it's white. On these eyes, what you end up doing is you end up sewing a running stitch around the edge and then drawing it up into a ball. So this will never show. If you're making like Ellie the elephant and you're going to do white tusks, once you sew those white tusks into a tusk and turn it right side, or before you turn it right side out, just go ahead and come back here and just clip off any of the color so that it doesn't show through. Once you've sewn it, you can be within 1/8 of an inch on minky, which is another thing that's hard to believe after you've sewn with cotton. But minky doesn't ravel. I mean, it doesn't come apart. So if you sew within 1/8 of an inch of the edge, it's going to stay sewn. It's going to stay sewn. Now, that being said, when I make my animals, if I'm making a part, not necessarily like on this frog, because this frog doesn't have any parts, but let me grab. Let me grab if I'm going to be sewing on the mane or the ears, I know that little kids are going to pull on the ears. I know that's going to be a stress spot. So I do double sew that. I double sew the forelock. You know, I double sew these nostrils because this is something that little kids are going to pull on, chew on. Same with the arms and legs. We know that this little horsey's going to be drug around by this arm. I mean, we just know that. So I do double sew those things. Do I double sew everything? No, because I know this minky will hold, but I just double sewed what I know is going to get tugged on. And that's just because I've had little kids. I know what they do. And I know that it's not that they're being destructive, but this little goddaughter that my son gave the nutty nag to drags her pony everywhere. Her pony goes to rodeos with them, goes everywhere with them. So you know that you have to make it a little stronger. All right, so I also want to tell you, think out of the box. We're going to do a frog today. And you're thinking, oh, that's blue. It is blue. But maybe my niece's favorite color is blue, or her room is blue. So you can still do a blue frog. I mean, a frog doesn't have to be green.
You're gonna have to come pull up a little more.
Here. But this is what I was telling you about. I would love to make this frog a little bigger, but he won't fit. I mean, he just barely fits that way. And if I fold it this way, he just barely fits this way, height-wise. I mean, I can maybe get him up to 150%. But I've already got this pattern done. So now if you look on the pattern, you'll see that it shows an arrow for the grain. And I follow this 90% of the time. And I also keep very close track on, let's say if it's, say like this white, you'll see that the grain runs one way. So if you're gonna put the legs together, like this nutty nag, you want both of his arms to have the hair run the same way, and you want him to run down. On his hoof, you want this to run down, because if they run up, if one runs up and one runs down, it's just going to look a little odd. I also wanted his body to run down, because you know he's going to get petted like this. Well, it's just a little different the other way. So that's what that arrow helps you do, is get your fabric lined up. But again, one thing with Minky is you don't have to stress over that. Say one arm does go one way and one arm does go the other. The Minky police aren't going to show up, and I'll guarantee you whoever you made that for is going to love it regardless. I'm guessing when they make these things in China that there isn't that much stress put on getting it correct. Okay, so the great thing about the frog is the frog comes in two pieces. Oh, I was going to say on this, so this is a Galaxy, and it really has no grain. So you can cut this out any way you want. So I kind of like these new Galaxies, these new sorbets, because they kind of just let you do whatever you want. And that makes it kind of fun. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll go back to my handy dandy clips. Like I told you, I'm a clipper. I really like to clip. And I'm going to clip this top where I'm going to have my fold. That's the only thing I'm going to clip. And this says I'm going to cut one on the fold. But like I said, I draw the whole thing out. I don't cut as I go, because sometimes I have to go back and re-finagle it a little. Like this one, I don't really have all the way to the end. And I should. I mean, a person shouldn't waste this great stuff. So let's just finagle him down to the end. Like I said, we can have that salvage in our animal because it's just as soft and easy to, or just as soft and scrumptious as the rest of the. And I just draw around it. I use a Sharpie. Probably worn out a couple of them so far. And it doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter. This one doesn't have a lot of writing on it. I should show you one that does. And like I said, you don't stress over. But you'll just draw around his little toesies. And this one I know is going to fit. So I am going to show you how we're going to cut him out. Because the nice thing about these scissors is they are very sharp and I can cut 2 layers at a time. Would I try that with all my scissors? I have some other scissors that I just sew with that probably wouldn't do it. Okay, so I've sewn around this whole thing. I'm going to pull him off, but I'm going to leave this leave these clips because I want to keep this fold. And on this middle, I'm going to write tummy piece. Or I'm just going to write tummy. Because I'll know what that is. I'll know what that means.
You put the A and the B on there?
Oh, yes. And then I want to put the A and the B on here. Because those are our matching points. And I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to put the A over here too. I'm going to put the B down here. I'm going to put the B over here. Yes, you want to put those, you want to put whatever it says for letters. Like I could show you. Well, I'll show you when we keep going. But then we'll just start cutting them out. And if I were just cutting one layer, I try to just stay under the layer of say there were just one layer, you kind of try to stay under the layer of Minky and just cut this deal. But since I'm cutting 2 at a time, you don't really have that option. But I do make short little cuts, and I think that makes a real difference too on the dander. It doesn't.
Can I get that?
It doesn't cut. It doesn't cut as many of the long hairs. I mean, just if you just cut, and as you can see, maybe I'm totally on the line. Maybe I'm a fraction off of the line. I don't sweat it. I mean, I just keep going. This frog was probably it's probably one of the last things I've made. I had no idea it only had 3 pattern pieces because some of these have quite a few pattern pieces. Even Ellie had several pattern pieces. Whoops. Must have got off my bottom because I can tell I don't. And I like to cut it on a surface because I think it helps keep everything laying flat. Let's get rid of that. And let's turn. I know Margie's fielding any questions you have. I use clips, like when I'm sewing this frog together, I would use clips and pins. And the reason for that is, like in these tight areas, like around the tips of the valleys of the fingers, a pin might hold it a little tighter. The rest of it, I would just use clips. And then you go back and make sure that it caught on both sides. And like I said, if you got 1/8 of an inch of the fabric, you're good to go. That's good enough. That will. And you can see, It doesn't have to be perfectional. But once we get this done, I also pulled out the hose for the sweeper here. You do not have to have one of these little hand vacs. If you just pop the hose off your sweeper, and that's how we'll clean this one up, it works just as good. And you have more money for fabric because you didn't buy that little hand vac. I always try to save as much money as I can for fabric. If I didn't have to eat, I'd buy more fabric. My mother thinks Margie and I buy too much fabric. But I tell her I could be buying heroin, drugs. So actually the fabric's probably a little cheaper. I know I told you the story of why I started sewing, because I really needed a night out. And I thought I either need a night out or I need to go to therapy. And I told my husband this a few years later that he's my ex-husband now, but I said to him, you know, I either needed to go to a quilting class, or else I needed to go to therapy. And you know how expensive therapy is. And he said to me, I think the therapy would have been cheaper. He's probably right. Okay, let's get around this little hand. I'll also show you little tips of notions that I use, because I'm kind of a notionaholic. I like notions. I like anything that makes it easier. I like this little wrist wrap because if I want to grab a clip, if I'm cutting out, well, and I'll show you with the bunny. The bunny has several pieces. If I'm cutting out those pieces, then I want to just clip them on. And I just keep pushing this stuff up because pretty soon we're going to clean this mess up. This is a really large pattern piece. Most of them aren't this large. Well, like I said, I was amazed when I pulled this out and it was 3 pieces. I'm like, whoa, this ought to be fun. Because some of them, you have the foot, and you have the foot gets hooked to the leg, and the leg gets hooked to the upper leg, and the bottom of the foot gets, but they're still just not that difficult. And if you go out on YouTube, Shannon has some great how-to videos, especially for the nutty nag and the Ellie the elephant. Okay, so now we have that piece cut out. And I'm going to show you how we're going to clean up. But this time we're going to clean up with the hose for the sweeper. If I can figure out how to turn the sweeper on. Here we go. And again, we just suck it all up in there. And now your piece, once you've sucked all that stuff off, your piece is not going to bleed. You do not have to worry about your machine getting all dusty and getting all this stuff inside, because it's just not going to happen. Once you've sucked this off, this thing doesn't bleed anymore. I'm going to use this thing because it really is a little stronger than this Um, but as you can see, there's all the dander is off of this guy. So that's how I do it. I just lay out my pieces. I should have brought a trash can over here. And
Be an Eleanor Burns.
I would cut, yeah, I could be Eleanor and I could throw it over my shoulder, but I also work here Wednesday through Friday, so I know who would probably get to clean it up. But this little tummy is ready to go. It's all ready to sew. But let me go back to this. Let me go back to this little honey bear. Because I'm going to do him in blue too. So let me do a couple of pieces with him because he's probably my next deal, and I thought I would do him in blue too. So we'll just do a couple of pieces on here, like his arm. So when you see the arm, you see that it says we want it to run with the grain, but you see it says cut 4 to reverse. So what we'll do is we'll just go around and we're going to cut. And you also notice that there's an opening over here, and this is the opening you're going to leave. So I just draw a line and then I leave an opening. To me, that signifies opening to me. So then I just write arm on here. And I'm going to do 2 this way. And although I'm following the grain on this piece of fabric, you really don't have to on this Galaxy, because the only time you really need to follow the grain is if there is a nap to it. And again, I come over here, I draw a line, that's going to be my opening. And I put arm on it. I don't care which way the lettering is running. So as you can see on the back, I've written arm, I've put this on, and I've done my opening so that I know where it's at. So I'll just come up here. I try to save as much as I can. But like I said, I would lay all this out and draw every pattern piece before I cut. And again, there's my, and the same with this one. I would lay it on.
Just a little more.
But I try to utilize almost every inch of this minky with my pieces. And see, then there's the arm. Oops, I gotta put my piece on here. And I just use the deal to give me a line. But that way I know that those are my openings. That's just a signal to me. They just leave it open, but I like it. If I put a line across it, I know. So what I'll do when I'm done is I'll just put a little check mark on this, and then I just set it aside. And then I know I can move on to something else. So then I have the ears. The ears are going to run about the same, and you just start drawing around them. I mean, I need 4 ears. The ears don't have a front and a back. So I should have used something in there, but it looks to me like I can get a snout over there. They, you don't have to do a front and a back on them like you do the others. Oops. Too much. Let me see if I can get my snout in.
You're using your Sharpie, right?
This says just permanent marker. This is like Dollar General Sharpie. I bought a bag of Dollar General Sharpies. So I got black and red and blue. And that's so if I draw this on here wrong, or say I don't decide I don't want to do the bear on here, I can come back then later with a different pattern in red like this and tell myself, okay, I'm following the red guide. I'm only going to cut the red. But as you can see on this red, it has, or this snout, it has a lot of different things to mark. You have to mark the 3 dots. I have a B over here, and this is a cut one only. I have an A over here, and I want it right on here. This is the front head seam. And this stuff really helps if you write this stuff on. This is F, and it's also the nose. But if I write this stuff on here, when I go to cut this out, it helps me remember. Not going to be able to get my nose there. Oh, well. But, or ear. But then I just use different colors. So say I had drawn this on in 120 and I had a third of this thing left. And I thought, man, I'm going to blow this up to 140, which is, I think this bear is 140. Then I'd go back, draw right over the top of this with another color Sharpie. None of this will go through. I'll promise you, none of this will go through. You'll never know.
Except for white.
Except for white. And except on like that white, digital print, like the unicorns. You wouldn't have been able to do that either. But like these little ears, you know, and then I just write on ears. And this was the snout.
Jackie says, Bobbi, you are giving so many incredible tips.
Well,
I
good.
would never even think about telling anyone. I think it's a fanatic. It's fantastic because it's stuff that will come up when making these.
Yeah, and see, now you can come over here and this little tail's going to fit in here. It's going to be tight, but you're going to have,
Push or pull up just a little.
oh, let me pull this up a little bit. But you're going to have, I mean, so it runs off a little bit at the top. You're going to have a little give anyway. So I would utilize that for the tail. I mean, what the heck? Make these, and then I would fit the other one right in here. But like I said, I try to utilize as much of this print as I can. But I will draw this thing on completely before I get done. And then again, I've got that. It said to cut 2 tails, 1 snout, 4 ears, and I just keep stacking them up over here as I get done. So here's the back of the head. Looks like we have a lot of room up here. And we're going to tuck him right up in here. And I can go, can you see the top of this?
Yeah.
So I can go right up to the top of this. And that way I don't have to cut up there. And again, this one has a lot of stuff on it that I need to know. It says right up here, I need to leave this open. So I use my symbol to tell myself that. This is C, this is D, this is the neck seam. And you think, oh, I would know that. But when you start to put this together, sometimes you don't know which one goes to the side. Here's the side seam. And then you put back ahead. The more information you put on this, although I have my pattern pieces laying right there, but the less you have to go back. So see, here's the back of this. I have everything written on the back also. You can flip it around if you want and look at that stuff. To me, that's work. So again, I'll draw this baby on. And then I know that this is a leave open. So that's my symbol to me to leave it open. I have C, D, I have a neck seam, I have G, I have E, and I have the side seam. And that's the back of the head. If I'm doing so that I have two fronts of the head and I'm working with something like, oh, the digital print, and I want to kind of match them up, I will do them, you know, side to side like that. So that if this is going to be, if it's going to try and match up, I'll try to get it to match up by just mirror flipping them. And then you know that these two pieces are going to be together at least part of the way down, and it'll look like they went together. Other than that, it doesn't matter, because this is also crazy that it doesn't matter whether it matches up or not. But see, then I know I've got this one done, and I just set it aside. You know, you've got the top body. This again will just barely fit in there. Whoops. And again, we're going to mark all those things. You know, I want to mark here. I want to mark here. I have an L up here. And if you just come straight out, that helps a lot. And that's where your legs go. This is J. Oops, J. This is K. This is the tail. This is M. Again, here's the arms. And you think, oh, I'll know which one is where the arms go and which one is where the legs go. But at about the time you think that, you sew them on backwards. And then you just mark top body. And that's good to go. And I think this one has a reverse too. So we'll just bring it down and flip it. But it's not going to fit down here, so we're not going to waste. So we'll go ahead and just put it up here with this piece up here. And again, it's a, how many, let me see if I have any really little pieces over here, which I don't. So there's no sense getting crazy over saving a little piece, because it's not gonna fit in there anyway. And again, you're just gonna draw around it. And that's the other reason I like to laminate them. And boy, it's easier to draw around them. But the biggest thing is, I want to use these patterns over and over and over and over again. As long as I use them for just a gift or for myself or whatever. I'll see. What was JK? Oh, that was the legs. I better put that on here. Then I can make as many as I want out of these patterns. If I were going to make and sell them, she says she would really like, you know, she'd like to have you, like if I was going to take them to a swap meet, which I don't have time to do that. And let's see where the tail, or there. Let's go straight out. This is M, and this is the tail. But it doesn't take long to draw them out. This is not something I do in front of the TV because it's so messy. I like to do it on a board so I can vacuum as I go. I will cut one piece and I will vacuum. I will cut one piece and I will vacuum. Okay, so I got that one done. So let's just go back and let's vacuum, or I'll show you a little bit more of that. But these truly are the best, because now as I'm cutting one, I try to keep my scissors kind of just under the backing of the Minky, so I'm not catching all the dander or all the fluff. Do I think then it's less messy? I don't know. And you're going to sew in 1/4 of an inch anyway, so it's not like you're trying to save this fur. But you can feel if you're running on the grain that you can just run your scissors right along the top. And it doesn't matter how big or how small your piece is, you can still vacuum it. Like you saw me do with the eyeball. I vacuum everything. Um, does that mean there's never any dander on me? No, but I'm messy whether I sew cotton. I have threads all over me. I go to the store and people will stand there and pick cotton threads off of me. And I'm thinking, I don't know why that bothers you. It doesn't bother me. But so I get used to that if I'm sewing. I also get used to, I don't have any right now, but I'll have pins in my shirt. I'll have all kinds of things. But again, I get this piece done and I just vacuum it. And then I vacuum the area. Now when I get done, I'll go back up here and I'll grab the snout and I'll hook them together. And that's ready to go. So then I just lay that aside. Same with my other pieces. You know, when I start cutting out the arms, then I'll hook them to the arm piece and set them aside. They're ready to go. But I don't cut until I've got everything drawn out. Are there any questions? I mean, I guess that's pretty much what I wanted to show you, was that you don't have to stress about this stuff. If you just vacuum as you go, when I go to sew this little snout on, the stuff is not going to come out. It's not falling off anymore. I have vacuumed off all the pieces. So you don't have to fret for your machine. I take pretty good care of my machine. I oil it, I clean it, and I try to get it in to get clean, but we don't have many people that do that up here anymore. But you don't have to worry about that, because if you vacuum these little pieces as you go, you don't have to worry about.
And you can use your regular vacuum.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, that's what this was. This was just my regular vacuum. Or actually, it's the Quilt Shop's vacuum. But yeah, I just pulled the hose out and I just vacuumed it with that. Just as easy. Yes. The only reason I had this was because I thought it would make less noise in my sewing room while Margie and my mother watched TV, but it makes a lot of noise.
We don't hear it.
So let me show you some of the other things as we get through. Again, use polyester thread. The reason polyester thread, this Minky is strong stuff, but so is polyester thread. I mean, Aurifil is strong, but man, this stuff is stronger even than Aurifil. So I always use polyester thread, whatever I can grab to use. Whether it's a little spool of polyester thread or whether you jump into one of these big spools. I tend to be a big spool person because I don't like to run out of thread.
Do you recommend a specific thread when sewing it other than just being polyester?
I don't. I a lot of times use my long arm thread,
Glide.
which was Glide. And the only reason I had it and it was polyester was because I used it on my long arm when I used to long arm sew. So no, it really doesn't matter. I did talk Margie into bringing in some larger spools, or these cones of thread, because this cone of thread is 1629, a little 285 yards of thread. This is 6,000 yards for 1629. That was 300 yards for 389. I mean, I can do the math. Whether I use half of this, I'll have made money. You know, this is just, how many yards is in this? 3,280 yards, and it's $9.99. Again, it didn't take long for those 3 little spools of thread, which would be a third of this, to add up to that. So, but no, it doesn't matter. I do use these stretch needles. I really believe in those. One thing that Teresa Coates says is that they kind of weave through the polyester on the Minky, so they do a lot better job of sewing. And I truly believe that because I've been real impressed with how they sew. I have never used a stretch needle before, but then I don't do a lot of sewing besides quilting. So that was until I started with this Minky. I like this little thing because I can just grab off of it, just grab my clips off and grab them on. They just go on so fast. There's so many little hairs on it that as I'm sewing and I need to put a clip back on, I don't have to look over here and make sure it's going to clip on something because there's tons of hairs on it. But I also like this little garage. This is where I house, because if you think this is all the clips I own, you're crazy. I probably own, well, I own even more than what's on this garage. I own a lot of clips. I got my clips probably 6 or 8 years ago. They sat in a bag forever, and I finally gave Margie 100 of them, and she used them a lot. And I never even thought about them for all the uses, but they're a great thing. This is called a clover stiletto, but this is what I use to stuff my animals. I love this point. It's very dull, it's very soft, and it just really does a nice job. I don't often use this point at this end because it's pretty sharp and it tends to want to go through. But if you use this point, you can tuck in really nice, because a lot of things have, say the frog, a lot of things have, you know, places that you need to get that fabric out.
What's the price on that?
It is $12.95. I also pin. You know, like I told you, I am a combination. I use a combination of pins and I was getting ready to take this home. That's why it's in a bag. And I love this magnetic thing because as I pull my pins out, as I'm sewing, I will pull my pins out. You know, as I'm sewing, I just slide them out as I'm coming to them. And then when I get done, I can just take my magnetic deal over and just pick them up off my sewing machine. So that's what I like about
That
this.
is not available. The more expensive ones, the $15 to $20 ones are available.
Yeah, Margie says the little ones are not available right now. She'll keep watching for them because this is such a handy size. Like I said, it fits in a baggie.
I'm looking for some wands, like you use at bingo.
Yeah, yeah. But this, I know they make bigger ones, more expensive ones, but this will come back. One thing, 1 week it's not available, and the next week she's able to get them. So it'll come back. This is the Biani Stylus. I love this thing. I use this to stuff in too, but I also use this to guide my, if you watch the scarf video, I use it to guide my Minky in. When you're sewing 2 layers, such as this, it just helps. You can just keep that steady as you're going. Because I've sewn through my fingers. I've sewn through 2 different fingers. The stylus, I've never used a stylus, but I really do like this one. But that's pretty much, so all I'm saying is don't be afraid of it. Get it out, start drawing your pattern on, and then cut it and vacuum each piece as you cut it. And then I stack them up. Once I get all 4 arms cut out, then I'll clip it to the I'll clip the pattern piece to it. You know, I have this, I don't know where I put the foot. There is a pattern piece. Oh, it's right back here under my garage. I don't know what they call that, but I call it my clip garage. But yeah, once I get them all cut out, then I'll clip it to them, and then I set it aside. That way I know I've got everything ready to go. And then I don't unclip it until I'm ready to sew the arms on or do something with the arms. Somebody wanted to see these? Is that correct?
Well, that was another thing.
Oh, a lady asked yesterday about these scissors. These are called the Perfect Scissors. The reason I like them is, like I said, my hands are a little bigger than most people's, probably because I've always done manual stuff and my fingers fit in them. I really like these. I have the purple ones too, because I just like the way these cut. I like the serrated edge, and I just like the way they get in, and they cut so nice. The purple ones are just a little bigger because all I want to do is, and as you can see with these Perfect Scissors, they cut clear to the tip. But I want to cut just a little bit at a time, and that way it doesn't. If you cut this with a rotary cutter, you cut off a lot of the little hairs. Do I know if it matters in the end? I don't know. And maybe if you just used one of the little rotary cutters, but it just seems to mat that down and cut it off at the end, where these I can get underneath. I can do a nice little job of clipping. And they just do a nice job. And I like that they clip all the way to the end. Nothing's more annoying to me than scissors that don't. And I've bought a lot of them. I've bought a lot of scissors in my day. But as I'm going up, as you can see, I'm just kind of sliding it under the polyester part and just barely catching into the hide or the hair on the back side. And that tends to make it, so that there's more. Now, when I go to sew it together, it doesn't matter whether you catch that or not, because as I showed you yesterday, and I didn't finish this little guy. Oh, maybe I did, because I don't see many places. Oh yeah, up here you can see. But if you just take your Biani stylus and go along the seams, it'll just take it out. And you can see that I've done that on his back, because you can't even really tell where the seam was. And part of that seam is where I stitched him shut. But you can't even tell, because you get that stylus out and and I'm just lightly running it along the side. Plus I lightly run it around the eyes, and it filled in around the eyes so that it didn't look as indented. But yeah, the Biani stylus is really good. It really did a lot for this little creature. So I do use that a lot. I use it in the beginning when I'm sewing, and I use it in the end to pull the hairs out. But that's pretty much all the tools and trades that I have for this, except I keep every different pattern in a plastic bag. As you can see, this is the frog. I keep it in here. When I'm done with him, then I'll put everything back in here with the pattern, and I put it up on a shelf. That way, if in 3 weeks I want to make another frog, it's ready to go. But that's the biggest reason that I laminate, is because I've cut this frog out 3 times, and you can't tell that I've drawn around him. If it's just paper, if you're good at that, then that's good. We used to draw around paper all the time when we were cutting out clothing. But I don't know, 100 sheets of lamination, it doesn't take very much at all to do a pattern. And then I just set it aside. I think I've bought 2 of those, and I've done 10 patterns. So, and I've done them in several different sizes. So,
why don't you show the lamination package once more time?
Well, I would if I knew where I put it. Oh. But it's just called Peel and Stick. And I can always get Margie to put a link to it on Amazon if you want. I'm thinking it was but it's just,
Right.
and if you have a laminating, oh, I can do it like that. That'll be better. If you have a laminating machine, it would probably do the same thing.
Probably couldn't put the pieces on as easy.
Well, some of them, you just put them in an envelope type deal. The
Right.
bad thing is
If you
you're going to
have pieces,
waste. You're going
right.
to have more waste that
Right.
way. Because this way I can clip off if it's only this wide, I can clip this whole side off and reuse it. Or I can clip out a V over here or a triangle over here and use it on a tip over here. Whereas if you're running it through a laminating machine, you're just going to have to go with what laminates. It's not going to let you clip all that. And like I said, I utilize every piece just like I do on my Minky. I draw the pieces, and as you can see, I try to fit them in just as tight as they'll go together. I try to get all the ears, the tail, but I try to get them as close together as I can. When I get done, there's very little left to do anything with.
Show them your elephant.
Yeah. And then if there is extra, we had a sewing class up at the camper, and 4 people made elephants. And one of them made it in this icicle, and one made it in this, I can't remember what this one was. I don't remember. And this is called Midnight. And then I just grabbed some pink out of my stash and some black. And then the other one made it out of just red C3, and I didn't end up using that. But what I did was I took all the extra pieces and I turned it into a triracial elephant. And he's really happy. He doesn't care. I mean, he's still just as soft as you're stuffing these. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to tell you.
Carrie Ann says she's loving how thrifty you are.
You don't need to stuff these super duper full because they're meant to be loved. So the more squeezable they are, the better off they are. We have found with the nutty nag that you really have to stuff his neck pretty good, or else he tends to droop it over. But don't stuff him too full. You'll know when it feels good. When it just feels good for a little one, you'll know. But that's pretty much, oh, Margie's, here, I'll show you what kind of stuffing I use. It's called Royal Silk, and it just makes so much softer. I ran out last weekend, and so I had to stuff the little dog bed for the show out of polyester that I had in the closet, and I couldn't believe the difference in feel. It just felt rough. I just felt, I don't know. These feel lovable. That's what they feel. I mean, they just feel like you could squeeze up to them. And if you're using something like Minky, which is already super duper soft, you want to use something inside that's just as soft. So this is probably twice as expensive as regular, but it's well worth it. And again, you don't have to stuff him clear completely full anyway. So spend a little extra and do it and get the Royal Silk Polyfill, which you can get about anywhere. The reason we don't ship it is it's just so large. It's pretty hard to get it in a box and economically send it.
Walmart is free shipping after $35.
Yeah, and Walmart's free shipping after $35. So, all right, that's pretty much what we needed to go over. Does anybody have any other questions? And this will be a file in on the Quilters Candy Shop website on how to make the pattern pieces, how to draw them out, and how to cut them out and vacuum them. So if you need a reference, you can go into there. If you decide you want to pick an animal and we do a sewing of that animal, just let me know and we'll pick an animal and we'll do a sewing of that animal. I'm not going to do like the nutty nag. We could do like the unicorn, but the nutty nag has such an excellent video put out by Teresa Coates that I couldn't even begin to but we could do, we could do this little, what was this? Oh, a bear. We could do a little bear, a little bunny, a little puppy. So you can let Margie know what you're thinking. But anytime you want some how-to videos, we're happy to put something together as long as we know how to do it. That's pretty much all I know.
Why don't you finish the bear?
Why don't I finish drawing the bear? Well, we could. We could. Let me throw my deal down. Okay, so well, let's do this one anyway, because this is the face. This is the face, and I want to show you how I mark for the eyes. So we're gonna. Can you see them?
Mm-hmm.
Let me find a Sharpie.
Move some of the stuff. No,
Yeah.
No sewing the bear.
Oh, we could sew the bear, but let me show you how you do the eye position. This is a. You only cut one of these. This is the front of the bear. Whoops.
Why don't we do that next weekend or sometime? Sew the bear.
Oh yeah, we're not going to sew the bear today. But again, we're going to mark where the ears go. And we have ears over here. We have D up here. We have 3 dots right here.
You're camping next weekend, right?
Probably. And we have B and E. And then how I mark the eyes is I will fold this over and see how I've got it marked on this side too. And then I'll mark the eyes. And again here. I want to keep this lined up down there. And then I'm going to mark the eyes. And then I've got the eyes marked on this little bear. And this is the front of his head. So
I told him we'd plan another video in the next couple of weeks because you were probably gone next weekend.
yeah, I hope so. I hope to go camping one more time. Or go to my grandson's ball games, but they haven't told us if they're going to allow that yet. So we're at the mercy of the COVID.
So I think that's all that we don't need to finish drawing the bear if you don't want to.
No. So that's pretty much how you draw your pattern pieces. It doesn't matter what kind of marker you use. Just don't use one of those markers that when you scratch it, it goes away. Use a permanent marker. They're cheap. Like I said, you can get them at Dollar General, get them anywhere. And then, then mark your pattern pieces and go from there. But we could do that. We could do a sew along with a bear, or pick an animal. Doesn't matter to me what we make. We could do a sew along with a frog, or sew along with a bear, or sew along with I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like I said, I don't really want to do the horse or the elephant because the videos out there with those are so awesome. There's no way I could do it justice. But we could sure do a sew along in a couple of weeks. Once you get your stuff, you could get it drawn out, get it cut out, and we could go from there. So thank you guys for stopping in. Like I said, this video will be out on the Quilters Candy Shop folder under how to.
She said a sew along would be great.
The pattern and how to do the pattern, how to cut out the pattern of your critters. So if you're looking for it, that's how you're going to find it. All right. You guys have a great afternoon. We'll talk to you later. Bye.